to First Talk Live with Pastor Jay. It's good to have all of you tuning in this Wednesday morning. We are always so delighted to have you join us every Monday and Wednesday at 6 a.m. And for those of you who will be tuning in at a later time, we want to just say welcome, and it's so good to have you tune in whenever you're able to. This morning I have a special guest, someone that I've known since he played basketball at Fort Walton Beach High School. And I look forward to him sharing some things this morning with us. We're spending some time on really talking about influencing the present to change the future. And next to me this morning is John Barnes. And John, it's good to have you here with me this morning.
Thank you.
I want him to share a little bit. He's got a program called Silent Works, and I want him to share a little bit about that. Then we're going to have some conversation this morning about what it is to really focus on influencing the present to change the future. What does that look like, and what do we need to do as a community? What is he doing personally with the organization he has to achieve this very thing? So John, tell us a little bit about Silent Works.
Yeah, so Silent Works started as just I was doing basketball skill and development, and I found a problem within my training, and it was the mental aspect, right? I would get kids, and we'd start working out, and I'd see frustration, I'd see self-doubt, and it kind of changed my trajectory on my focus. And so within the game of basketball, I've started to figure out different ways that I could help athletes, kids, anyone really, change their mindset. And it kind of stumbled over into things that they can help them in their real life. So it's kind of been a windy road, but I use basketball as the vehicle to really help develop mindsets and different ways of thinking.
Yeah, that's good. With all the things happening today, and especially the challenges that young people, children and youth are facing. We think of all the stresses that we face in life as adults, from personal issues to global, national issues, and then we fail sometimes, I think, to recognize how these challenges we're facing are also challenges our youth and young adults are facing. They are exposed to just as much information today as we are as adults, and yet their minds are not yet developed to the point to rightly disseminate all this information. What in your work with these kids, what do you find as being some of the greatest challenges they face?
I think one of the biggest things is a lot of kids don't know what they want. And that's where I start, from a 10-year-old, asking a 10-year-old, what do you want? And the first thing they're like, what do you mean what I want? And I just started from there, like, what do you want out of life? What do you want from the game? What do you want? And once we get that blueprint, I think that helps you in your decision making, right? I use the analogy of, driving with no headlights on. Right? You're just kind of all over the place, just making turns. You can't really see. But once you turn those headlights on, okay, now I got a little path. And it helps as far as if you tell me I want to do X, Y, and Z, when there's a challenge in front of you, I think it helps you in your decision making if you already have some idea as far as where you want to go. So that's the first step for me. That's just deciding what do you want. Yeah. And I think even as adults, like, we kind of just are drifting around and we don't really know what we want out of this thing. And so that's where we begin. What do you want?
Yeah. You bring up a good point, because I think you hit the nail on the head when you consider today, even most people don't really set any kind of goals.
Right.
You're a dog chasing your tail if you don't know how to put one foot in front of the other towards a certain mark. And I think that's what we have a lot of, is we have a lot of people who are just simply, they're on a chase, and that chase is often determined by whatever the world is wanting them to chase, be it political, be it economic, whatever. It's a chase that the world sets for us, and we never set any goals. We're just kind of baited and hooked, and we're reeled in. And with kids today, again, we want to see cycles change. As you know, cycles tend to be generational. When there's a cycle that is dominant in the life of an adult or parents, and that cycle is what those children are groomed in, those cycles repeat themselves generation after generation. And one of the reasons that they do is because people don't know how to get themselves out of that cycle. And one of the things that we've shared on here even is that to change the cycle, you have to change the routine. If you don't change the routine, you never break the cycles. Right. And so what are some of the things that you guys do to help a young person change the routines so that the cycles that are predominant get broken, and we can see then a change from generation to generation?
Yeah, I think the first thing you have to do is make them aware. And sometimes I feel like when I first started, I would feel like I was taking kids down a path that was like an adult path. But then I saw the value of teaching it early, right? And that was the thing that I was like, man, I wish somebody would have told me. So one of the things I use when we come in, I used to want to get the ball in their hands super quick. Like, we're in the gym, let's go. And then I started to realize, like, man, but there's a missing piece in the mental aspect. So I would sit them down, start asking, what do you want, right? And one thing I would do, I would have them close their eyes and just visualize it. Feel it, hear it, see it like you're already there, right? And once they get through, I have them tell me about it. So not only are they seeing it mentally, right? Now you're speaking it. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of power in the speaking
Absolutely.
it. After you speak it, then I help them frame it, right? Because a lot of kids I hear, well, if, when, maybe, right? They're not really sure about it, right? So I help them frame it to, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do, right? And I think changing that mindset is the first step in changing the trajectory.
Yeah, that's good. You know, really, even scripturally, capturing the vision. I think a lot of us have a very difficult time really honing in on what is the vision for our lives. If I was even asked, those of you tuning in, can you articulate clearly what your vision is for your life? I think a lot of us would have a very difficult time truly articulating that.
Absolutely.
And how important that is to do just what you said: see it, feel it, speak it.
Right.
Again, even the scripture says that there's life, the power of life and death is in this tongue.
Right.
So what we put out there and what we speak and what we declare is critical to what then is being built from our life, and what we, quite frankly, what we activate to come even to our lives. And so that's huge. Let me ask you this: at what point did in your life did you recognize, this is my heart, this is my passion, this is something I know God's called me to do?
Yeah, it would have to be, I would say, sophomore year in college. I started struggling. I was living the college life like it wasn't, there was no structure to what I had going on. I ended up coming back home for a year, and that was where I was like, I gotta figure something out. Like what I'm doing right now is, like you said, it was a cycle. I kept recreating the same life. So I got to a point where I was like, what I'm doing now, something's gotta change. And then I just really started to explore, like, I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about, right? Just getting that awareness of like, well, what are you thinking about every day? Changing that, right? And just having setting goals and really exploring, what brings negative energy to me. It was just, I really had to take a dive into myself. And then I saw the value in it, and I was like, man, I should teach this to someone else. What am I really good? What's my passion? I love basketball. Then I started seeing it show up in the game, right? It's like, man, I play the best when I'm just even keeled, right? And it took me a long time to understand, like, initially I would do like everyone else. Like before the game, I want to get super hyped up, right? And I would notice how early in the game I would make bad decisions. I would be too amped up, right? And as the game kind of settled in, then I would settle down. And so once I realized that, I changed my whole energy before the game. So I was super killed. So now when I come into the game, I'm calm. And while everyone's here, I'm already making good decisions.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was just trial and error, just trying different things and trying to break cycles of what I've already created.
Yeah, that's really good. You know, one of the hardest steps, and it's the first most critical step, but the first most critical is always the hardest step, is taking the time to really self-evaluate.
Yeah.
That's so hard, and especially with all the distractions that are out there, that's competing for our time, our focus, our attention. To break away from that, you have to be intentional.
Right.
You have to be intentional to do that. Break away to really then just look at yourself. Ask yourself the questions that you don't want to ask,
right.
that you really don't want to answer.
Right.
But it's necessary to then recognize and become aware of what needs to change, and that way then you can begin to put the proper steps in place to make those changes. This is what I've been doing. Now let me look at what I need to change and what I should be doing. And sometimes it's a trial and error. So, you know, we're programmed to want a quick fix.
Right.
There's no such thing as a quick fix in this. And so we got to recognize that for ourselves and for those then that maybe God will call us to serve. And you know, John, I just want to say too, you know, it blesses me beyond words to sit here with you, because I knew you back in high school.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know, and to see the man that you've become, to see the heart and the passion that God's developed in you, to change lives just by serving them, I'm gonna just tell you, man, my hat's off, and my heart just is proud as it could be. But you know, the one of the things too, and in just a moment, I'm gonna have you share with our audience and those watching how they can contact you and just a little bit more about how to get kids into your program. But one of the things I just want to really share to our audience is, you know, what John's doing and what many others are doing. And I think we really need to become aware of just the gravity of what is taking place when men and women like John and so many others are out there serving our young people, our children, our youth, is the generational change. Because if we can break the cycles of one generation, then what we've done is we've changed the trajectory of every generation that follows them. And that's huge, because the impact then is generational. It ripples throughout time for generation to generation. And again, I think we become so focused on ourselves that we don't consider the ramification, the consequence in a positive way of our serving the younger children. We see them as an inconvenience, a bother. You know, they're too difficult for me, or you know, I don't have the time for them. And nothing could be further from the truth. If we really want to see the change that we sometimes envision, that we desire to see, we're going to have to spend time investing in these young people. We're going to have to spend time investing in these kids. And if you're not living in the Fort Walton Beach area, maybe you live in a place that doesn't have the types of programs like what John has and others have. Maybe you're the one that God's going to be speaking to now to begin that in the community that you live in. But John, if you would take a moment, just share even with our audience how, if they've got young people, if they've got children that could benefit from what you're doing, how can they get a hold of you, and what does that take?
So yeah, I mean, you can go to the website silent-work.com. You can find me on Facebook, Silent Work. I have personal pages, Facebook, John Barnes, and I have a personal, or Instagram as well, silent-work, or _silent work 850. But yeah, there's multiple ways, and just reach out and we can get you going.
How often are you with the kids?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day, 7 days a week.
Now, is it a group setting? Is it individualized?
I have both. I do both. Yeah, I do group sessions and individual one-on-one. I like one-on-ones a little better, especially initially. It just gives me and the kid a chance to really get to know each other. And it's actually been, the virus thing has actually even made that a little more, because right now, no parents are allowed to watch. So that kind of changes things, right?
Yeah.
Like when mom and dad are there, I can kind of see, out of the eye, they're peeking and seeing if mom and dad are looking and paying attention. But now it's just me and them, right?
Yeah.
So I get a different kid.
Yeah.
Right. He kind of opens up a little more, and it's like, oh, okay. He might say something in front of me that he wouldn't say in front of mom and dad, And so it just enables us to get, build a better rapport with each other. But we do group sessions as well, which are fun. It's kind of the camaraderie, get all the guys together or the girls together and, get after it.
Yeah, that's awesome. If any of you who are watching are interested, or you have questions that you would like to ask John concerning Silent Works and the program that he is offering, check him out. The information, of course, we are pinning on this broadcast, and so that information is there. His social media links should be there as well. Check him out, visit him, send him messages, ask him what questions you might have. If you have a young person, or maybe you know of people who have some young people who could benefit from this program, please pass along this information to those that you know. I want to welcome, or say thank you rather, to all of you who tuned in this morning and who will later be tuning in. We are always so honored and blessed that you take the time to tune in with us, and I love these opportunities where I have a guest like John here with me, where we can just bring you some information that will help you and help others that you know. Today we're really talking about influencing the present to change the future, and I really want to challenge all of you to consider what ways that you can influence the present to change the future. And it starts with, even like John said, sometimes you just have to stop. You got to just remove yourself from the distractions, self-evaluate, think about what you need to change and the cycles that need to be broken in your life, and what routines you need to change to break those cycles. And then as you begin to discover that for yourself, then you can also teach others how to do the same. And so that's a challenge I think we all need to be left with this morning, and I hope that you'll embrace that challenge and run with it. You'll also begin to really see what vision God has for your life. See it, feel it, speak it, and don't be discouraged when it's not happening the next day, but continue to put one foot in front of the other, moving towards the goal that God has for your life. But set those goals, write them down. That would be another thing I just encourage you to do. If you would like to support Pastor J Ministries, there are ways that you can do that. We appreciate your support. Of course, your support goes to help us continue what we're doing here every Monday and Wednesday, along with some other projects we have coming down the pipe, which I can't wait to share with you here very soon. Also, share this first talk with those on your social media. Take the opportunity and the time, if you would, to just share this and let others who are connected with you also watch this message. Again, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. John, man, I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's an honor. I'm so blessed. You all have a great Wednesday, great week, and I look forward to seeing you Monday morning at 6 a.m.